panel coming up. This is Wallets More Than Money, How Web3 Will Revolutionize Entertainment. It's my pleasure to bring to the stage the founder of discussion platform Beyond Media, Miss Nicole Benham, and also the CEO and founder of Impact Theory Studios, Mr. Tom Bilyeu.
Love it.
Yeah.
What up?
Yeah.
What's up, Nicole?
What's up, Tom?
How we doing?
So good. I know it's the afternoon, but GM, guys, come on.
GM.
Can I get a GM? I love tweeting GM, say it back.
GM.
It's the best way to get engagement on Twitter, not on Instagram.
It's good. It's good strategy.
It's a good strategy.
I like it.
Tom, I'm so excited to do this with you in person. You have been such an inspiration to me in so many ways. You know, I've been an interviewer for a long time, but I've watched your stuff, and you've interviewed some of the biggest legends, and it's crazy that it was Web3 that brought us together.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Web3 is a crazy beast.
It's a catalyst. Whatever you want to do, it'll bring you closer to your goal. I knew nothing about Web3, NFTs. I didn't even own ETH until this year. Last year, a year ago.
I was going to say, whoa, you made real progress, homie, in like 90 days.
I forgot that we're in 2022. It's so hard. I can't keep track of what year it is.
It's because you're in Web3.
That's why. Yeah. It's all I think about. But I wanted to ask you, everyone has their own definition of Web3. And I've heard it so many times just today. What's your definition?
Yeah, so mine is really simple. I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking for anybody. It's the implications of this simple idea that I think will really surprise people with how much it changes things. So Web 1, read only, you go to a website, there it is. Web 2, social, you can both read and post. Web 3 is about ownership and participation. And what I think people aren't really thinking so much about, I know some people are for sure, but especially in an entertainment context, is the things that you buy are signals of affinity. So what it is that you like. And so that was where the title of today's talk came from, is that, they're called wallets, but that's really a pretty big misnomer. And if we're going to stick with it, it's wallets with more than money. And what I can tell about somebody from an entertainment perspective, when you roll up into what I will lovingly refer to as the metaverse archipelago, which we can get more into that later. Yeah, but when you roll up into somebody's little corner of the metaverse, that they can create custom experiences for you based on what's in your wallet. And so as I think about what that's going to be, it's really going to be revolutionary, and I think it's going to introduce an entirely new form of entertainment.
I've heard you say that it's a new phrase, new word, wallet aware. What does that mean? I've never heard it before. Yeah,
so when you're building these experiences, so we're going to be unveiling at the end of this the secret project that we've been working on under the code name of the Avatar Project. And as we're building it out and thinking about where this is all going, in fact, who has not seen the movie? Who has read the book Ready Player One? Make some noise. All right. Not quite as enthusiastic as I would hope from a Web3 crowd, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Now, I think that book really has an insight into what the metaverse is actually going to become. And from the sort of initial cyberpunk stuff with Snow Crash and things like that, where we got a really interesting sort of hacker-esque look at what it's going to be. But Ready Player One showed what it's going to be from an actual living in that world of entertainment. And it isn't just gaming. So there's a part that we would all recognize as gaming. You go in, it's a combat zone, you've collected your items, you lose in a battle, you lose all your stuff, right? Pretty straightforward. But the whole rest of the book, like 85% of the experiences that the characters have inside of that book are what I think is actually going to be Web3. I think he recognized, he wouldn't have had the word Web3, but that's what he was detailing, something I call wallet-aware, game-like experiences, meaning that the example that I use is my wife has a book coming up called Radical Confidence, May 10th, for anybody out there looking for a dope book. And she's doing an NFT project around it that'll make sense when you read the book, called Bad Bitch Boots. And so inside of Project Avatar, we're going to have bad bitch boots. And that's actually an item in your wallet. So whether you're wearing them or they're just in your wallet, I now know something about you, and I can trigger an experience based on the fact that my technology is aware of what's in your wallet. And if you have combinations of items, let's say you have a Bored Ape and you've got bad bitch boots, well, you're my kind of person. So we can do things for that.
What can you do with that?
Now that you'll have to wait and see. That we're not ready for that announcement yet. But that's how, as Web3 builders, like that's the kind of thing people begin to discover as they're creating this stuff. There's a name for it, skeuomorphic, right? Not to be skeuomorphic in the design, not to think of Web3 as a worse Web 2, because I think Web 3 is a worse Web 2.
In what sense?
If you want to play a traditional video game, you're better off going to what already exists. They're already amazing. You can play to your heart's content. Web 3 needs to bring something new to the party. Otherwise, it's going to be a 3 to 5 year wait for something that's already awesome in Web 2. But Web 3 can bring something entirely new. And as we break out of the skeuomorphic attempts at gaming or whatever, then it becomes, well, what is it? And I think it's these wallet-aware, highly interactive, customized, game-like experiences.
Okay, so I know we have Project Avatar. We're going to talk about that a little more. You've already released a project from my understanding before
We haven't
this.
released Avatar. So the way we did an umbrella project called Founders Keys.
That's it.
And the Founders Key, so we got a couple key holders in here.
Founders Keys, guys, come on.
Yeah, buddy. All right, so we launched that, and our strategy is very different than the sort of typical strategy. So there's a lot of amazing financial energy in the Web3 space. It's incredible, thank God for it. It's what brought a lot of interest. It's what's building the infrastructure. It's amazing, but there has to be something beyond that. And about 4 or 5 months ago, I started to have a really uneasy feeling about what Web3 becomes if it's just a financial vehicle. And so as somebody who got into, my wife and I sold our last company, Quest Nutrition. We never needed to work again. And to work this hard, it's about something different for us. So we've always wanted to build an entertainment company. We needed a moment of disruption. Web3 presented that. And getting into that, we knew we were going to be creating a lot of IP. And we wanted an umbrella project that wasn't focused on, I didn't want people treating the Founders Keys as a hedge against inflation, right? Which is a lot of the vibe in NFTs is like, hey, it's highly volatile, which means I can make a huge amount of money, but you can also lose a huge amount of money. And if the people building the project are just focused on the financial side, there won't be the emotion to sustain the masses, right? So I'm interested in the masses because of a whole thesis I have around what I want to do with my life. So again, not that there's anything wrong with the financial energy, it's just that's not where we're coming from. So we wanted to create this umbrella project that would open everything that we're developing at Impact Theory. So we've already got 9 projects in active development, and we needed a gravitational center. And that gravitational center where all of these different projects come together to the benefit of our key holders is Project Avatar. And today we're going to announce the name, we're going to reveal the logo, and show you guys one glimpse of a really early piece of art so you can get a sense of what's coming. But yeah, it's going to be a whole new kind of experience.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. You set the standard for customer service, is what I've been told. I was backstage with David Bianchi, who was just on this stage 10 minutes ago, and he told me that he purchased one of your Founders Keys, and that when the floor started fluctuating, you said to your holders, hey, if you're unhappy, I'm going to refund you. And he said he actually refunded us and let us hold on to the free airdrop that we received, which really is setting the standard. There are some people that come into the space, you don't know what their intentions are. Obviously, when it's very liquid and it's bullish, people are there to make money. And when you're here long term, the way that you've been operating has really set the standard. So that was really nice to hear.
What is up, my friends? I have huge news for you about one of the most exciting and important projects I've ever worked on in my life.
As you guys know, it is my mission to help teach people about how to build a mindset and the skills that they're going to need to live an extraordinary life. And over the last few months, I've been working hard behind the scenes to create a brand new tool that will help you do exactly that. It's called Project Kyzen, and I'm proud to announce that I'll be bringing it to the world later this year. Project Kyzen is a Web3-based, game-like experience that is a story-based world that's going to allow you to get inside, build an avatar that is aspirational of who you want to become, and then take the path of the warrior, seeking continuous improvement inside of a story world and game experience. All right, my friend, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this amazing new project, which I think ushers in a whole new form of entertainment. And I want to meet you inside of Project Kyzen and help you have fun with these ideas of always getting better. All right, click the link and join me in Discord. And until then, my friends, be legendary. Take care. Peace.
Let's give it up for Tom.
Thank you, thank you. Look, Web3 is an incredible space, but there is one slight pathological element, which is the time frames that people are thinking in. And so I know what we're building. I know our level of commitment. We didn't do the drop of the keys as a way to fundraise so that we could actually do our roadmap. So when we did the project, and look, I had not understood that part about Web3, that people don't measure things in months or years, they measure things in hours or days at most. And so even though in the build up to the drop, I said, look, don't buy this if you're trading it, because it's not going to be like that. This is a slow build. We have a lot of IP in development. We're trying to build a studio that makes games, film, TV, and those things have this inherent cycle. But don't worry, I don't need the raise here to do all of these things. So I'm going to do them, whether it works or not. So when we sold it, we didn't spend any of the ETH that we generated. We just set it aside. And so when people they either had overextended themselves or they just weren't comfortable with the kind of time period that we were talking about, I was, cool, we'll refund you. And that was the same way we built Quest was, look, you got to stand by your product. And so, yeah, this I like to call the founder's key the anti-rug. This will never be a rug.
Anti-rug?
The anti-rug. We're trying to shove carpet under people's feet. And yeah, so we would, just buy the keys back before we'd let it go to zero. So that's how we play.
That's incredible. Every time I talk to you, I hear a new phrase, a new term. It's like there's a new glossary with you, which I love because we have the whole GM, WAGME, rug, all the terms we had to learn as we moved along in this space. So I heard you say, okay, what does Unreal Engine 5, which I don't know what that is, have to do with what you have been calling, and you said it earlier, a metaverse archipelago?
Archipelago.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right. So if we have people out there that are tech savvy and you guys want to create something amazing in Web3, I have a thesis. Now, of course, I could be wrong, but I'm extraordinarily bullish on this. And I think you're going to see that there are people running what I now call the playbook. And the playbook, if you're trying to launch a project based around IPs, you're trying to tell stories, there's some element, it's not just about apes, it's apes embedded in a story world, right? So the same thing for us. So Project Avatar is embedded in a story world. So as we were looking at what technology are we going to build this in, I'm agnostic. I don't care if it ends up being Sandbox. I don't care if it's Decentraland. I don't care if it's something that none of us have heard about. I just want to make sure that we can make something that's as big and interconnected as possible so that they don't become these really disparate things and it's, a battle for the technology and most things get lost and eaten, by time. So looking at it, I was like, okay, what is the technology that is most widely available to creators? And the answer is Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine is named appropriately. It is the most unreal piece of technology you're going to encounter. It will allow you to basically drag and drop your way to a video game. It is absolutely extraordinary, and you've already got, we're building an Unreal Engine, Apes are building an Unreal Engine, CloneX is building an Unreal Engine, and this idea of the metaverse archipelago is that right now, Video games are never going to get connected, and anybody that spent enough time in a video game understands why. Like, just to balance a weapon inside of one game is hard as hell. To do that across games would literally be impossible. And so you're never going to be able to do that. But there are these game-like experiences that I'm talking about, going back to Ready Player One, where somebody builds a replica of the hometown that they grew up in, and you can go into the arcade inside of that town, play a micro game, opens an Easter egg, and then based on what your wallet has, like, creates this incredible experience. And so they're not traditional video games, and it's not traditionally a movie. It's a Web3 game. It's something totally new. And so I think that as we build up these islands, so that's the kind of thing that we're building with Project Avatar, and there's a bunch of people doing it. So right now they are islands, right? So if you're in Project Avatar, you won't be able to teleport into apes. You'd have to go build an apes. But they're on the same rendering engine. So once this ecosystem gets their version of HTTPS or TCP/IP, the protocols that make the internet work, you will literally, as long as it isn't a combat zone, you'll be able to move from one experience to another. And that lets your identity be as permanent as you want it to be. And so that's why the phase one of Project Avatar is we're focusing on that you can build an avatar that's awesome. I mean, just like AAA game tier quality 3D, fully rigged, amazing stuff, with an eye towards being able to, in the future, once that infrastructure is created, you can take it from space to space to space.
That's incredible. You have such a big audience already with impact theory. I know you have a newsletter, you have a ton of ways that you communicate. You know, I'm in this world of NFTs, but if I wasn't, and I'd imagine that you communicate with an audience that is not crypto native, how do you move them over? How do you bring them to this world? How do you excite them and, you know, get them involved with this kind of stuff? You know, because not everyone is into gaming and things like this. So
yeah, so to me, the big question that we're trying to solve for is there's so many people doing incredible things where the punchline is this is a fun financial instrument. And so we want to take a different approach, which is, you know, they say that there are companies that try to charge more over time, and there are companies that try to charge less. And we're a charge less company. So we're trying to bring the cost of NFTs down, we're trying to make the barrier to entry lower, and we're trying to put whatever accretive value there is in getting amazing art, doing cool collaborations, to push through the hands of our key holders. Right, key holders? You feeling good about that? So we want to get the art right, we want to get the rarity right, we want to get the drops right, the partnerships right, but make it, at least in that initial transaction, very inexpensive. And then let the quality of the game, the quality of the ecosystem, take care of whether something goes up in value. And if it does, it's already in the hands of our key holders. So that helps the value of the keys stay strong, gives an early entry point for someone who isn't a key holder. You know, and we're obsessed with this idea of being people's first NFT, right? Because you can actually do something with it. You can go in and you can play and engage, and it becomes a really fun, easy way to become a part of this ecosystem and get your feet wet without having to know a lot about it or to be looking at financial charts or wonder if today's a good day to buy in or if you missed it. It's like, make it really easy, make it really fun, and then they can learn about the other side.
And how do you engage with your community in particular? I know you have a Discord, we've done a Twitter space together, and then you're collaborating with people.
Yeah, so one, we're really building with a focus on making sure that our community can co-create with us. And that was one of the really powerful lessons. Lisa and I were so successful because we knew how to build community. And that was how we blew Quest up. We took it from not existing to being valued at over $1 billion in 5 years. So it's just crazy. So I really came into Web3 thinking, cool, I repeated that success with impact theory. We've grown by 41,000% in 5 years. So I mean, it's just bananas. So I thought I really understood community. What Web3 showed me was I understood audience, and community is different. And so building a Discord community in the way that we mean it in Web3 was really like, it was exciting, but surprising. I just didn't realize the voracious appetite for co-creation. And so as we're building out Avatar, it's like all eyes on how can we create moments where the the players, the users, can be involved creating different things. And so that's a big part. So that's one way that we engage highly. We're actually building a school to help people learn how to create an Unreal Engine so that they can build things for the experience. And then also Twitter and Discord. Like those are the three big ways. But I spend a lot of time in Discord answering questions. That's huge for me. And so, yeah, those three are really the ways.
Yeah, I love the distinction that you made, and we've talked about it on our spaces, between audience and community. You know, audience, this is an audience right now, but the second you guys are talking to each other and then there's a two-way street where we're all engaging with each other, that's a community. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I talk about this a lot in Twitter Spaces, community wasn't a positive word when I was growing up because a lot of us belong to communities where we didn't really feel accepted for who we were. The first thought we had when we walked into a room was, okay, who do I have to be to impress these people? Now we all have, you know, avatars from a certain collection, and we feel like we're unified based on that. And when we walk into like a Cool Cats event or a Doodles event, or, you know, I'm sure a Founders Key event, or any of these things, we already feel a sense of connection. We're curious about each other. You know, we want to work collaboratively. It's such a different feeling. Am I right? Community? It's different. It's a different feeling in Web3, you know? It's also like, you know, you're a big public figure, but I feel like we're friends here, you know? You're someone that I look up to, but I feel like we're someone we can work collaboratively, and when we all talk to each other, and when I see people, even at this conference, it's just, I feel like I know you even if I don't know you, and I love that about this.
All right, my friend, I have a big announcement. My incredible and talented wife, Lisa, is about to launch her new book, Radical Confidence. In it, she has managed to perfectly capture the process of how to go from feeling lost and insecure to taking control of your life and doing amazing things despite feeling fear, sometimes a lot of fear. Now, let me tell you, nobody knows Lisa better than me, but when I read Radical Confidence for the first time and heard her describe what it was like for her to go from having these big, exciting dreams as a kid to then as an adult scheduling her life around the TV shows that she wanted to watch, or how lonely and isolated she felt instead of pursuing her dreams, it was brutal for me. I would never say, though, that it was worth it for her to go through all of that just so that she could write something down that allows others to avoid it, but I will say that at least she was able to capture the strategies that she used to break out of that rut, find her voice, and begin doing incredible things despite her insecurities and fears that she wasn't going to be good enough to achieve great things. Order your copy today, because if you act now, you can claim the bonuses that Lisa has created for you at radicalconfidence.com. Then, once you've done that, we'll get back to today's episode. All right, guys, read the book and get ready to be the hero of your own life. Peace out.
We are all in the Wild West, covered in dirt, trying to build something, and that there really is something that when you have that shared vision, that shared purpose, and you're in the middle of something, and we're such an island, and you know, I'm sure that when you're in your bubble here, like if you guys ever, like, and look, it's all different for everybody's algorithm, but if I type into YouTube, literally just WEB and the number 3, no space, the first like 10 results are Web3 is a joke, it's a scam, it's like, we are in a bubble of like, yo, this is amazing, it's incredible. But like we are a really small part of humanity right now.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it.
Yeah,
the first few results are Web3 is a joke.
Yes. Yes. Whenever you have a massive shift, this is a tectonic shift. What is happening right now is a tectonic shift. On the inside, we see all the people investing. We see all the resources and the talent pouring into the space. But to the outside world, it is confusing. They have no idea what it is. Why would people do this? But that is the nature of change. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then finally they accept defeat. And so we're moving into the fighting part, right? So as somebody in the gaming world, you don't have to go far to see that there is a massive amount of vitriol between traditional gaming and NFTs, like almost violent. It's really interesting. And so it is not going to be a smooth road. And ultimately, we have to build things that actually are better, not better in concept, but better in reality. But if we build those things, and I literally have run every scenario you can imagine that I can think to run, And all of them end with Web3 being the dominant system because it's the most attuned to human nature. But we're going to go through a rocky patch.
Okay, the most attuned to human nature, how so?
We want to own things. We want to feel a sense of connection. And I think that it's the part that confuses people, and it's the most powerful thing, which is digital art is the most incredible art on planet Earth. Like the things that it can do, it can move, right? The color spectrum that it can handle is way broader than what you can do in print or in paint. And it also matches much more closely the zeitgeist of people growing up right now. So we're now dealing with generations of people who grew up playing video games, then they raised their kids playing video games, where you can become famous and wealthy from playing video games. And that's why it's not weird that you have all these degens basically treating video game style graphics as bonds and hedges against inflation and financial instruments. And it's like, it's so nonsensical 40 years ago. It wouldn't make any sense. But now when you steep people in that culture, now all of a sudden it does make sense. But you have to go through this massive transition to get the world to adopt something like this. But it is just self-evident to me that people want to own, they want to co-create, and they want things to be valued that they already think are amazing. And that all of that's in Web3.
It's also the education that I feel like we were missing when we were younger. They didn't teach us about taxes and financial literacy, and now all of these questions are coming up. You know, as we learn more and more about cryptocurrencies and NFTs and things like and community, it's sort of filling in all the holes of everything we were never taught when we were young. So I feel like this is also going to change the way we educate our kids. That's the feeling that I get from this every time I'm learning.
It's interesting, yes, and there will be way more financial literacy, but I don't think anybody new is going to enjoy it. And so this is my big thing with NFTs is look out at the world, right? The question has already been asked and answered. How many people like paying attention to financial graphs and all of that stuff? And the answer is some. And they are handsomely rewarded for it. And the people that get to know it really well and really understand how it works, they learn it. But they could have learned it this whole time, and they didn't for a reason, because they're not into it. They want entertainment, or they want an emotional connection, or whatever, but it isn't the financial side of it. Like, I will give you guys a key distinction. I've spent a huge portion of my life pursuing wealth. And then when I was told, because I finally had more than $1 million in liquid net worth, that I could be an investor, I was like, why? I still don't understand it. So I'm good at building businesses. I'm not good at investing. They're totally different things. And so some people are going to be really into investing, and they may prefer investing in NFTs because at least it's images that they find visually interesting, or they like the culture of it. But at the end of the day, you still have to spend your day looking at it and treating it like stocks. Like, is it moving in the right direction? Are the fundamentals right and all that? I don't want to hear about that. I don't care about the fundamentals of Spider-Man or One Piece or My Hero Academia. I just know it's dope, right? And that's the only way that I personally want to engage with it. And so I know that there's going to be a huge contingency of people that feel the same. And again, if you scan the demographics of the world, there are way more people that are into going to see the next blockbuster or playing the next blockbuster video game than there are people that are willing to spend that same time getting financially literate. Because if you're willing to spend the time, I'll just tell you right now, it's already out there. You can go learn everything you want. You've got Warren Buffett teaching every principle he knows, Charlie Munger teaching every principle he knows, Michael Saylor as fast as he can talk, telling you what to do with Bitcoin, Raoul Paul as fast as he can talk, Robert Breedlove. Like, all the information is there. But some people just aren't into it. So there's got to be another side that speaks to the broader audience.
But then I keep hearing this word, edutainment. Has anyone perfected that, or is that the direction we're moving in?
Man, you can keep your edutainment. I tell my team all the time, anybody holding impact theory keys that's looking for edutainment, you are going to be really unhappy. So the way that I see it is, we have a funnel system. At the top of impact, so impact theory exists for one reason and one reason only, to make sure that nobody gets to the age of 15 without encountering a growth mindset at scale through story. That's it. That's why I get up every morning. That's why I fight as hard as I do. And so I saw Star Wars. It introduced me to a character called Yoda. I thought Yoda was dope as hell. And then at 16, a friend of mine said, hey, you should read this book called The Tao Te Ching. And I read it, and I was like, yo, these are like Yoda quotes. And so Yoda gave me an in to an ancient Chinese philosophy that ended up changing my life. And so Taoism then plants the seeds for what we would now call a growth mindset. And that started with Star Wars. And so that's how we want to do it. Star Wars doesn't preach at you, but if you take Yoda's advice, it will actually make your life better. And so my thing is, can we tell stories like The Matrix, like Karate Kid, like Shawshank Redemption, where there's a core idea at the center of it that's literally life-changing, but it's just entertainment. And then you funnel them down. Cool, you liked our version of The Matrix, and if you like our version of The Matrix, you're really going to like the project that we're going to play literally right now because we're about to run out of time. So with that, I will say, let me introduce you to Impact Theory's version of The Matrix.
Wait, are you about to drop the name?
We're going to have to because
Oh
we
my
are
God.
rapidly running out of time. Wilhelm von Wugenstein, if you're back there, now is the time, my friend. All right, everybody, this is our new project, formerly known as Project Avatar. And you're about to learn the real name. All right, there it is. So Project Avatar is officially Project Kyzen. Now, anybody that knows what Kyzen stands for, so the real Japanese word, which in English would spell K-A-I-S-E-N, stands for continual improvement. And so that's the core of impact theory. That's the core of everything that we do, and that's the core of this game-like experience that we're building out called Project Kyzen. That's the first thing that we've released to introduce people to the world. We're marching towards the launch of the project here. In a couple weeks, we'll announce the actual launch date. And really fast, I'd like to show just a quick, Will, if we can get the teaser image, and I'll explain how this works. So the idea is to create yourself. So you're going to come into a full-blown game engine. Again, it's built inside of Unreal Engine. You'll be able to build an avatar based on extremely high-quality 3D assets that we're working with some of the most talented artists in the world. We stole one of the creative directors away from Riot Games. Very excited about. In fact, our new chief marketing officer, who we stole from Disney, Warner Brothers, DC Comics, he's now on the team. So we're building out an incredibly world-class team that is going to allow us to tell stories in this brand new Web3 way. And Will, if you want to hit people with just a real fast, this is an old Viz Dev piece that we did just to show the kinds of things that we're going to be doing. And Will, you can take that one down. We're never going to be showing that one again. I only wanted to show that here live on stage as it's ephemeral. But we'll be showing you guys the real images coming up. We'll be dripping them out about once a week until we hit launch. So we've got a lot of things coming all around that idea of continuous improvement. So thank you guys so much for joining us for that unveiling of Project Kyzen.
Thank you, Tom. This has been such an honor for me. I'm so excited for what you're building. It's very clear you're here for the long run, and I can't wait. Let's hear it. Tom Bilyeu.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nicole. All right, everybody. Peace out.
It's funny how when it's dropping, you begin to question everything you thought you knew in the euphoria. And I've never lived through this. So for me, I was fresh out of college when the internet was really booming.